past, fatal thought impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful laws and pass. I back up my actions, fact, don't ask, grab reactions, jacked, attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember you're discreet now, get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kiru's show here, and now, before I do begin, I am going to be posting some more one-shots. Now, for this particular one, it's basically to see how I feel with the universe that it's set in. Now, for some people who are confused, I don't do scripts. I literally just fly by the words that do come out of my mouth. And if it sounds good, I basically upload it. If it doesn't, I usually just scrap it. Now, that's a rare thing for me to do. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't usually just delete videos I've recorded. I usually post them. And yeah. You guys may not see this, or you may. It depends on how I'm able to do this particular story. Now, I've gone through some of the stuff already for this universe, up to the Viltrumite War. And I have a good idea of some of the stuff I want to put Deku in, and some of the stuff I do actually want to change around in the universe, or in this particular series. Now, with that being said, let us start with exactly Omni-Man, or Nolan, and how exactly this would work. Now, spoiler warning going forwards. I'm going to be going completely by what I know. So if you guys don't want to hear anything about it, or you guys haven't even looked into the comics, get the fuck out of here. I'm going to be blunt with you guys. This is like very, very blunt stuff now. Anyways, with that being said, we have Omni-Man, or Nolan. He is a Viltrumite who is sent to conquer planets. And after his species, 99.98% have been wiped out by a scourge virus, they're on the brink of extinction. The only thing separating the Viltrumites from being a simple dot on a map or a name in the universe that will disappear one day is 50 Viltrumites who can live for millennia. Now, after their species has come to a near extinction, they know that they're probably going to go extinct within the next few couple millennia. And a project was started by a Viltrumite scientist. Now, very much like Kryptonian DNA, I do want to say Viltrumite DNA is a very delicate process to work with. So, we do actually have a project that was started by a scientist, where they wanted to try and reproduce more Viltrumites, using existing Viltrumite DNA. And all the Viltrumites, men and female, or male and female, they actually did give samples of their DNA. Now, Nolan, he did give a sample of his DNA just before leaving. And there actually was whenever a few tests were performed. And eventually there was only one success. Now, they were able to do this using Nolan's as a last sample. And they were actually able to create a Viltrumite that was nearly completely pure. And the result of it was Deku. Now, this was very interesting to Thrag. This Viltrumite, he's, well, the first of their number. And the fact that he was able to be created the way he was, it's good. But the fact is, with how many attempts it was taking them, the amount of time it took them, that's annoying to them. And, in the grand scheme of things, Thrag, with his empire, if he has to wait that long just for one of them to be born and then to raise one, it's going to be a while. Sure, they have the time, but the other species they rule over, Eventually they'll find out something, and he'd rather be safer than sorry. Now, with that being said, we do actually currently cut over to Deku being raised and trained. The idea for Thrag is that this boy, if the time does so come for it, he will one day, well, fight their battles for them. He is the strongest Viltrumite, but the only other one that could come close to him is Conquest. But he's one of the oldest Viltrumites there is, and he isn't really that strong compared to him. Now, there actually is where Thrag, he does decide to actually take Deku under his wing, or if you would, raise him as his own son. Now, this was very surprising to many people. Thrag is going to be training a Viltrumite? That's sort of unheard of for him. Now, Thrag, yeah. By training, it basically does mean that by the time Deku is able to walk, he's going to be learning combat. Yay. Anyways, let's cut up to Deku around the age of 18. Or, well, actually, yeah, 18 would be good. Now, Deku manifested his powers very, very early on, and he's actually had them for quite a few years. Unlike his brother Mark, Deku, he wasn't a late bloomer. He got his powers very early into puberty, and Thrag was actually ecstatic about that. He can finally bump this boy's training into the real big leagues, what he's been waiting for his entire life. Now, Deku, yeah, he's been put through the grinder. And there actually is where he's been assigned to bring back his father. Sure, 1 or 2 years, that's fine. 3 even. Then there's 4. And then there's nearly 2 decades. Now, the Viltrumite, Thrag, he's very annoyed by this. And he is concerned for a minute. The idea that they may have lost one of their own does pop into his head. And he's almost concerned. A Viltrumite is very hard to take down. It is difficult in the long run, but it's not impossible. So, is there something on Earth that can take down a Viltrumite? Now, Thrag, he does actually ask if somebody would like to go and investigate. And there are actions where Deku, he does step up. Now, Thrag, yeah. He knows that this boy, he's strong. And he does allow him to leave. As Deku, he would have eventually arrived to Earth. Now, this is actually about, let's just say, a month before Mark has manifested his powers. And there is a lot going on here. Deku, whenever he does get to Earth, Cecil and his organization, they think it's just Omni-Man coming back from space, or dealing with a rogue meteorite, since it would be around the time of one of these occurrences. And, well, it's not out of the ordinary. Sometimes he just takes care of it on his own. So what? Now, Deku, after coming to Earth, he does find out about the Earthlings, or humans, and humanity, as he does watch them with disgust. These people, they fight and kill each other, and they act like they're different from one another. Now, Deku was confused as to where Noland was, or his father, as there was whenever he actually did encounter, or let's just say, see the Guardians of the Globe. Now, he saw them in action against the Muller twins, who they were just trying to invade and take down the White House to kill the president. Yay. Now, you do actually have where they do try to get in. However, the Guardians of the Globe, they quickly do arrive. And Deku, he's actually very intrigued to see this for a minute, as there's a man who can fly, and Deku, he almost mistakes him for a Viltrumite. Then there's Red Russ, there's War Woman, there's the Martian Man, Darkwing, Green Ghost, and Aquarius. Now, Deku's very surprised. He does watch the entire encounter play out. And then Omni-Man himself shows up. Now, Deku, he wanted to encounter his father. However, he watches as his father doesn't simply side with the Earthlings to fight. Now, Deku, he almost does jump into this. And he does want to try to berate his father. However, he does just watch on as the Mauler twins are eventually defeated. And Deku, he's confused, as he can tell that they're a very strong foundation for a team. And he does just wonder, all those people down there, they must be, well, the protectors of this place, the protectors of this planet, the strongest of them. Now, Deku, he does just think for a minute. His father may have gone against Viltrum. And, well, that's not good. He needs to report this back. However, at the same time, he also should be careful. From what he understands from Thrag, he is actually fairly stronger than everyone. Stronger than most Viltrumites. He got a jumpstart on his training. And then there was growing up. He took beatings as if they were just a daily occurrence. Healing, beating, strength training, beating. Hell, he just took it with stride eventually. And then there's actually currently right now. He knows for a fact that he could take on Noland, and possibly even win. The match would be too close to call, and that's if it's a 1v1. And Deku, he does come up with an idea, as he does follow one of the Guardians back to their hiding spots. Now, Deku, over the course of a week, he does start to at least stalk some people, and gain a further understanding of this planet, as he even actually does call a meeting for the Guardians of the Globe using one of their devices. Let's just say he murdered Darkwing, since that guy is literally just a human with technology. He didn't put on a fancy suit like Iron Man, he just rode around a surfboard in the air, and used gadgets like Batman. Seriously, I don't know what this guy was thinking. Like, a suit of armor, at least, that would protect your body. I think you could just take a bullet to the head and die, honestly. I don't know, guys. This is like... That's my one problem with his character. It's a cool idea, but it's just not executed properly like Tech Jacket is. Now, with that being said, sorry about that. Everyone, they do arrive to the meeting, and they're trying to understand who exactly may have called it. As you do actually have where Deku, he does step out, and everybody, they do just see him. Deku, he's wearing a suit, and they're all kind of just curious as to who he is. And they do just wonder, is he friend or foe? And Deku, he does just stare at all of them. All of you simply disgust me. What is that? It's just that. All of you disgust me. You claim to be the guardians of this planet, but really, you're just being played. At least I think that's what's going on. I'm not entirely too sure, since he's not doing his job. His job? Wait, who is he? Well, he is my father. However, he also does go by another name. Now, Deku, he does start to float upwards into the air, and everybody, they're very confused. They thought this was just a normal guy for a minute. And then the Immortal, he does go to rush Deku. Now, as soon as the Immortal does rush Deku, you do actually have where Deku, he does just do one thing. He does bring out one of his hands behind his back, as he does just hold the head of Darkwing. Now, everybody, they're quite stunned, as the Immortal, he does just rush in as hard as he can and as fast as he can, as he does try to throw a punch directly at Deku. Deku bringing his hand up and quickly just stopping the fist and grabbing it. As Darkwing, he does just stand there somewhat stunned for a minute. As I said before, all of you are weak. You're very disappointing to me. Hell, I'm sure Nolan could even take you out. Nolan? Wait, that's Omni-Man, isn't it? Of course it is. So you're a Viltrumite. What does he have to do with this? He has everything to do with this. All of you should have been dead decades ago. Instead, my father is playing with all of you. Wait, father? Yes, I see the pieces are finally starting to click with all of you. Now, I believe Noland, my father, he's gotten a bit too used to his role. He's supposed to just be around you all, lower your defenses and allow us to take over. However, clearly that's not the case. Now, as Deku is saying this, Red Rush does go forwards, trying to blitz Deku in speed and attack him. As Deku, he's still continuing on with this conversation. Red Rush actually punching Deku directly in the gut, as he does just attempt to try and run around and, well, attack him. War Woman moving in as she does try to do this as well. And Deku does continue his conversation. As everybody, they do just wait. Now, the battle does ensue, and a lot of things do happen here. War Woman and the Immortal, they're the heavy hitters of this team, along with even Green Ghost and Red Rush. That's the threats Deku does see here. Green Ghost, if she wanted to, could probably stop Deku's heart, or even, well, scramble his brain. From what he can see, she can make matter movable, or at least move through matter. So if she really did want to, she can kill him in an instant, and that's really the biggest threat here. And then there's even Red Rush. He nearly outmatches Deku in speed. They're very close, but Deku has the strength advantage there, and the durability advantage. Red Rush, yeah, he can take him out 1v1. However, here it's bigger, it's more of a problem. And then there's the Immortal and War Woman. These two working together could probably take him down. And then there's the Martian Man. Now, the team is all trying to attack and take on Deku. As Deku, he shows he's not playing games anymore, as he's constantly being struck around in the head and even attacked by the Immortal. Red Rush actually being able to try and confuse and daze Deku by trying to blind him with certain things around the room and even just trying to attack him. As we do even have Aquarius, or the Fishman. Whenever he does come in for the attack, Deku, he does do one thing. He does go to directly spin around and go to kick his head clean off. As I really do immediately see that happen. Martian Man trying to rush in and try to at least take on Deku. If he can get him restrained, then they can try to attack him. Do more than that. And there actually is whenever Deku, he does look directly at the Martian. Him going to just bring himself forwards and fly directly at the man, before the Martian has tried to at least rush towards Deku and go for him. As soon as Deku does get up close to the Martian, he does just bring out his hands and slam them together as hard as he can. As the Martian does move backwards, as his eardrums do burst. And the moment Deku does watch that happen, he does just go to step forwards, before directly bringing his hands up, and grabbing onto the side of the Martian's head. Before Deku does dig his thumbs into his eyes and go to directly rip his skull in two, before spinning back around. Now, Green Ghost is horrified at what she did just see. It's all bad. Aquarius, well, Darkwing, and Martian Man, they're all dead. And she's, well, what, just a person in a suit. She can't do much here. She's starting to panic. And there is actually whenever Deku does go directly for her. As soon as Deku does move in speed and go to try and attack her, Red Rush does directly go to grab onto her and pick her up and move. As Deku, he immediately does go to try and spin back around, but as soon as he does go to turn his head, he's directly struck in the face by War Woman. And then the Immortal does tackle him and try and send him directly straight through the wall. However, there is one thing that Deku does do. Deku, he immediately does go to grab down at the back of the Immortal and go to lift him up as Deku does start flying himself. The two flying towards the wall as they actually start to fly upwards into the air. Before Deku, he does immediately go to grab the Immortal and go to actually smash him down into the ground hard. And Woman, she does come rushing in. As Deku, he does go to grab the mace by the metal piece. Before he does go to reach out and directly grab her by her throat and lift her up. Deku being able to actually pull the hammer free from her hands as he does go to directly do one thing. He does scream at her that she's weak, and that even by Viltrum standards, children are stronger than her. Now, Deku does start to at least put pressure down in his right hand, as Warwoman, she's struggling to breathe, trying to at least punch at and buckle Deku's arm. And there is even Red Rush and the Immortal. The Immortal is trying to recover, getting up and moving forwards, and Red Rush, he does just go directly in and go to try and smash into Deku's back, hard and hard and hard. Deku just spinning around and directly smashing him with the handle of Warwoman's hammer. Now, Red Rush, his face does actually get injured, as he's sent flying towards a wall. And there is actually Green Ghost, who does try to save Red Rush. However, whenever she does fly in and catch him and face the wall, the two do get sent flying through the mountain. And Deku doesn't really go to turn his head and see that, as he does look back at War Woman, before quickly going to snap her neck by turning his wrist, spinning around directly to the Immortal. Now, Deku does just simply go to throw the axe, or at least throw the weapon towards the Immortal, as the handle does get sent flying right at him, smashing right into his heart as he's then hit into the ground. And Deku, he does go to walk forwards, informing the Immortal that he has to speed this up now. He was going to take his sweet time with this. However, since those two are both running, now he's on a time limit. Now, Deku just watches the Immortal just go to stand back up, and he's actually very intrigued by that. Now, the Immortal just go to grab the hammer and go to pull it right out of his heart, as Deku does watch the man go to at least try to stand up still, with a gaping hole in his chest and blood pouring onto the ground. Now, this is quite intense. Deku, his heart's pounding. There's, well, pain in his face, blood running down it, and there's even the muscles in his back that are injured. This is nowhere near the way it went in the show. It's more like the comics. The slaughter that happened, it was not this one-sided. However, here it's a lot closer. Deku, he feels like, if anything, he did the right thing. Well, War Woman, if she was alive for probably a few minutes longer, these two could probably take him on. Form a strategy, along with even Red Rush. They could probably take him down. Now, there is actually whenever Red Rush does come running back in, and so does Green Ghost. As you do actually have a Red Rush, whenever he does run back in, he does go to swing right by the Immortal. And he does go to grab War Woman's hammer, as he does go to move. Now, Deku, he did notice that the guy did move. However, he does just think nothing of it, as he does go to rush towards the Immortal, and as soon as the man, he does go to realize that the hammer's not in his hands, Deku's already directly in front of the man, as Deku does go to smash his hands directly into the side of the Immortal's head, before being able to crush it like a soda can. Now, the moment that does actually happen, Deku, he does go to let go of his hands, bring them apart. However, he does go to look down and see the head of War Woman's hammer, directly in his gut, as Ghost or Green Ghost does go to let go of it. And Deku, he does immediately feel an entire shot of pain, as he does actually go to spin around and look directly at Green Ghost, before Deku does go to throw the body of the Immortal right at her. Now, as the body does get sent flying towards her, Red Rush does try to catch it out of the air. And as soon as that actually does happen, Deku, he does go to move to where Red Rush, he would have actually had to stop. The moment Deku does, he does go to grab Red Rush and pick him up by his throat, before going to actually reach down and rip off one of his legs. Now, Red Rush, he actually does go to try and bring up his fist and try to sock Deku in the face. As Deku, he does just stand there staring at the man, Before he does, turn to Green Ghost and go to reach down and pull the hammer right out of his gut forwards. Now, she doesn't just watch Deku. She's watching on in horror. She's the last one. And this guy, he's too powerful. He's Nolan's kid. How is that possible? This doesn't make sense. They knew Nolan had a son, but he should be nowhere near this powerful. Now, Green Ghost is trying to think. She needs to free Red Rush. But how? When? This can't be right. Now, Deku can see the look on her face, as she's going to actually turn towards her and throw a Red Rush right at her. Now, the moment that actually does happen, she is going to reach out and try to go for him. As Deku, he immediately does move fast. And he's directly staying there as he's going to reach out and directly stab his fingers right into her eyes. As he does go to actually rip down and pull out her skull. As he does actually go to spin back around and punch as hard as he can. Red Rush being flung all around the room as most of his body is turned into a red paste. Now, Deku, he does actually then go to leave. As he knows for a fact that he's done. All he needs to do now is just recover. And afterwards, he should be okay. Now, there is actually, whenever Nolan, he does get this phone call. Mark's powers just manifested, and he was trying to go about what to do next with the Guardians. However, his blood runs cold whenever he does hear the sentence Cecil does talk about, or even say really. He needs to come in now and help them. The Guardians of the Globe have all been murdered. Now, that actually surprised Omni-Man. And he was just completely in shock about it. How? What happened when? Now, Cecil, he would have explained to Omni-Man. It was about around this same time. And he's actually very concerned, since he knows for a fact that it wasn't Nolan. So whatever is out there now, it's gotta be powerful. And it's very, very dangerous. Now, with that being said, Nolan here is trying to think, as his mind does go to one place, a Viltrumite. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next one shot.